Looking to live in Saskatoon but aren't quite sure where? Well, today we're going to be looking at every neighborhood you need to know about if you're going to be moving here. I'm Conor Palendat with Muhlenbecher and Associates. All my contact info is in the description below, so if you have any questions at all about the real estate market in Saskatoon or its surrounding area, please feel free to reach out to me. Let's dive in. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a map tour of Saskatoon. So you'll get to see kind of, what the city kind of looks like from satellite view. We're going to kind of go through, maybe not all the neighborhoods, but we'll try touch on all of them. Kind of go over some of the key neighborhoods, maybe the most popular, where people are wanting to be, or really good spots. So you're not going to get to see my face, unfortunately, for too much of this video, as we'll kind of be looking at the map. But let's bring this up and get going. Okay, so here we have our map open of Saskatoon and area. So just briefly, kind of when we're zoomed out here, Warman, Martensville, two kind of smaller cities close to Saskatoon, obviously popular. You can get a little bit more, say, space, square footage, for a little bit cheaper of a price, but obviously you are going to be commuting in, which, depending what time of day is, it can be kind of busy. Same kind of south of the city, what you are going to have is kind of, these little satellite communities that kind of are, considered part of Saskatoon, but, maybe aren't in, say, Saskatoon's actual jurisdiction. So for instance, Greenbrier, being kind of Corman Park. You kind of have Grasswood over here. So Riverside Estates, where you have Country Club. Again, you've got the Willows, which Country Club, Living, so kind of older population. Saskatoon Golf and Country Club over here. You got Casa Rio, and so everything kind of here, is kind of more going to be your kind of acreage communities, bigger houses, obviously more wealthy area, thing like that. Same with the Willows if we zoom in, obviously built with the golf course right in the neighborhood in mind. So again, bigger houses, and I'll just take a quick kind of drop into here. So again, kind of bigger, nicer, kind of higher income area, lots of retirees, obviously because of the golf course. There are condominiums that are in this area and that do kind of right along the golf course, which for them is great. So we're not going to do a deep dive on every single neighborhood because obviously that is going to take a long time and no one wants to sit here and listen to me ramble for 30 minutes. So we are going to kind of just talk about how the city is divided, and we will kind of give you a look of, generally kind of what each neighborhood's going to look at. So if you haven't noticed already, Saskatoon is bisected by the South Saskatchewan River. So it runs right through the city. Part of the reason our nickname is City of Bridges. You are going to need to take a bridge. Obviously you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bridges, 7 bridges. To kind of, get from one side of the city to the other. So I think we'll start kind of with just the downtown core and then kind of work our way out a little bit. So if we zoom into our downtown core, this is kind of where tons of businesses are, everything like that. Again, this is all, you got restaurants, little hotels, everything, stores all along here. Kind of the major area or pieces of information to look here is if we zoom in more. So here's TCU Place. This would kind of be events and everything. Midtown Mall, kind of the major shopping area. Actually, this parking lot right here, you can see, is the proposed site for a future downtown arena rink, and so that's kind of where that's being planned to go. But so lots of bars, restaurants, that's kind of the whole vibe of downtown. Movie theater, things like that. Hotels over here kind of along the river area. So that is the one nice thing about, obviously, if we kind of just look here without zooming in too much, tons of trails. Meewasin Trail all along the river, and it runs the whole length of the river. So If you're kind of in these areas, obviously super popular. Delta Besborough, kind of super old, historic hotel, kind of where all the big names would stay if they're, for concerts and things like that. River Landing development obviously has been, a big thing. You know, Saskatoon trying to make the downtown core kind of popular again. I know Saskatoon very suburb heavy. So they really, these kind of developments, you've got river landing condos, hotel, different businesses. You get the Reme Modern Art Gallery, Persephone Theater. You basically got this kind of amphitheater down here. Again, you can walk down here. There's all sorts of stuff going down this in the summer. The one thing, obviously, there's not tons of living downtown. You do have the river landing condos, and then obviously you do have different various kind of places set up throughout. You have Scotia Centre, kind of little shopping area here. Here's City Hall, right there. Again, lots of kind of businesses for the most part. If we kind of move out, you've got Saskatoon City Hospital over here, Kinsman Park, Nutrient Wonder Hub, again, more river landing kind of areas. Then you kind of get into, City Park, North Park, Richmond Heights. Again, kind of older houses, older area, obviously around downtown core, everything kind of expanded from there. So, all three of these are going to be pretty similar in, kind of style of homes. So lots of smaller bungalows, maybe 1.5 stories, things like that. You are obviously getting some newer developments popping up, which is great. As we kind of go farther west here, obviously again, Mayfair, Caswell, Westmount, Mount Royal, kind of Hudson Bay Park, all these areas, again, older, so for the most part, kind of, smaller houses, lots of wartime, era for sure. Schools, parks, big thing in Saskatoon, lots of parks. Schools, you got, high school over here, high school over here, so those are kind of the two bigger west side kind of high schools that are closer to downtown core. Again, we'll just kind of give you an idea what some of these areas look like. Drop us into Caswell. So again, kind of, lots of houses, the kind of this side, smaller. You'll get a mix for sure. Some newer, obviously, recently renovated, things like that. So Caswell, I would say out of the bunch of these, since it is close to downtown core, it is one of those ones that are kind of getting more of a comeback. Lots of little restaurants. People are putting money into newer houses in here, which is great. On the other side of 22nd, still kind of in the downtown core area, you got Riversdale, King George, and Holiday Park. Big golf course down here. So again, a lot of the housing here all going to be the same era, same size, everything like that. Riversdale, King George, we are starting to see, obviously, again, kind of more of a comeback because, again, so close to the river, downtown, so nice. The city obviously has made a push to kind of clean up this area. Obviously downtown core. In a lot of cities, kind of that's where, your kind of crime and homelessness might be concentrated more than the suburbs. And so, the city is obviously making a concentrated effort to really kind of try to bring these areas back. And people are starting to build new and refurbish the older houses and everything like that. As we move further west, obviously, you get Pleasant Hill and Meadow Green. So this would probably be, if you were to look at the crime map of Saskatoon, kind of the densest concentration. The joke being Pleasant Hill isn't so pleasant. You do have St. Paul's Hospital here. There's wellness centers here and things like that. So that's kind of, the vibe. Anytime you have, kind of a West Side hospital here, wellness centers, and obviously they're kind of trying to clean up downtown area. Kind of things have to move elsewhere, and so it's, this is kind of, the area where there'd be a bit more crime and things like that. In terms of housing, again, that's kind of where you're going to get your smaller, older, houses like this, narrower streets, again, old houses for the most part. As we kind of move farther west now, into kind of Confed, Pacific Heights, Fairhaven, Parkridge, again, kind of west side, still considered, again, a lot of the houses be the same style in all these. If you move kind of into Hampton Village, Dundonald, Westview, you get, a little bit newer. Let's just plop ourselves down into Hampton. Oh, no street view available. So Google, I guess, has not been in here. But to give you an idea, community rink, parks, again, your schools here, shopping, again, newer area for sure, kind of on the west side. So I would say kind of Hampton and Kensington are kind of the newer developments for sure in this area. Bigger houses, kind of more what you would find, on the east side, whereas for the most part, kind of, the rest of these are kind of, your, for sure downtown be more wartime, but here, 60s, 70s type builds. Blairmore Shopping Center, again, you get 2 high schools in the Shaw Center over here in the Parkridge area. Montgomery Place, kind of tucked away on the other side of 11th Street. There's CN rail yards, so it is kind of its own little area. It is actually quite nice. So if you are, wanting to live on the west side, lots of people find this quite popular. Lots of trees, kind of wooded area. Houses are all, quite nice. Good sized lots, everything like that. So it is kind of a little gem tucked away by itself. As we move, we'll kind of go north now on the west side of the river. You got your airport over here. This is going to be all industrial for the most part. So lots of warehouses and things like that. Again, as we move here, SaskTel Center. So again, I spoke about how downtown is going to be kind of the proposed new site for the rink. Current rink is out kind of way in the north industrial. So obviously Saskatoon wanting to make the downtown core kind of a comeback, be the hub. They are looking for a new rink. SaskTel Center, is kind of in that aging phase where, it's tight, it's small. The concourse gets quite packed, makes it difficult to get around. And I think they are finding they're starting to get passed over by, big bands to go to, bigger venues that are newer, like say in Edmonton, things like that. So, we will be getting a downtown rink at some point, just not for sure when. As we kind of get north, again, out of that downtown kind of area, we've got River Heights, Lawson Heights, and Silverwood Heights. All really popular areas. Older, but still, extremely nice. Obviously, anything along the river area, like if I just plop us down onto White Swan. Again, bigger houses. Like this is what you get to view. You get to view the river right along here. So again, obviously these are all bigger, pricier, things like that. Lots of schools, lots of parks, shopping, Lawson Heights Mall, kind of a smaller mall. If we kind of just throw ourselves into, say, near Assiniboine, again, so older houses, lots of bungalows, bi-levels, odd 2 stories, those kinds of things. So, still fairly reasonably priced. And actually, I would say all these areas are extremely popular for young families, obviously because of the school, the parks, the walking trails. You can still get these houses, obviously, for a reasonable price and renovate them, make them extremely nice. And obviously, depending what area they're in, there obviously are areas which are quite nice, big houses, big lots, everything like that. So extremely popular area of the city for sure on kind of that west side of the river. As we move over to the east side, kind of the 3 ones we'll touch on first are kind of the newer ones. I guess 4. We'll touch on 4 first. Evergreen, Aspen Ridge, Brighton, and Stonebridge. are kind of the four newest over on this side of the city. So Stonebridge, again, was kind of, I guess, the oldest of these. Kind of built to be, self-sustaining, which I think is something you're seeing. Brighton's kind of the same idea. Evergreen, Aspirin, all kind of things. So you got your schools, your parks, your grocery stores, your shopping, restaurants. You got a Walmart Supercenter over here. Kind of everything you might need is in Stonebridge. The one thing they don't have is high schools. And so if anyone in Stonebridge, chances are they're coming right down Preston, Walter Murray Collegiate, Holy Cross High School over here. As we move into Brighton, Brighton is one of kind of the newest ones. Brighton and Aspen would be the two. Again, we zoom in. Brighton's big thing is going to be parks. The whole plan has lots of water, walking trails throughout. Kind of a very active person's lifestyle, I guess would say, would be kind of the marketing push for this area. Green space, everything like that. Again, obviously newer, so what you're going to get is, lots of 2 stories. I'll just plop ourselves down here. We'll see. Again, a lot of Brighton is now complete. There obviously is still parts that are being under construction, but this kind of gives you an idea of what the houses are going to kind of look like. Oh, where is this going here? Back over. So again, lots of 2 stories, attached garages, things like that. Probably one knock on the newer areas is your yard space. You don't get a ton, like say your backyard, is the downside. Obviously same in Stonebridge, same idea. Not as bad as say Brighton and Evergreen and Aspen for sure. Aspen, Evergreen, obviously this, you can see it's totally, for the most part, still under construction. Evergreen, though, kind of same idea if we just drop ourselves in here. Again, newer, bigger houses, lots of 2 stories, attached garages, those types of things. Again, more of a probably wealthier area, you'd say, suburbs, schools. So you're kind of going to get, a lot of the same idea again. Grocery stores, shopping, restaurants, lots of parks, schools, everything like that, kind of in these newer areas, Aspen, Evergreen, Brighton. And so those are kind of, the most suburb-esque of the bunch. So if we kind of come back towards the river, you are going to get, obviously, Nutana, Buena Vista, Exhibition, Avalon, Queen Elizabeth, Haltane, Varsity View. All of these, again, proximity to downtown core, kind of the older of the bunch. But what you are getting, if I just, let's see, drop myself here. So go down 11th Street here. So again, kind of, you get your mix of your older kind of bungalows. Obviously the area is old, but you are getting a ton of either renovations or, you are getting, infills as well. So if we move kind of just down the street, there's kind of an apartment building again, newer construction, renovated, mixed in with kind of the older ones. The reason this area is kind of be coming back is Broadway Avenue here. Lots of restaurants, everything like that. All right in here, breweries, roasteries, everything here right close by the river. So this got a high school. So these areas are coming, obviously, because of their proximity to the river, starting to become a lot more desirable again. And so you are seeing, again, lots of new development in this area, but, kind of around Taylor Street here, Aiden Bowman Collegiate. In this area, again, lots of older style bungalows. If we just drop ourselves in here. There we go. Lansdowne's probably a good example. So this is pretty normal for this area. Again, lots of bungalows, things like that. Driveways, may or may not have a garage in the front or the back, depends. But again, older homes. So if you're buying in that area, expect that they are going to need some work, whether you want to totally renovate it or just kind of freshen it up. But still, obviously, bigger lots compared to the newer builds. those type of things. So very popular still. Exhibition area, you've got your Prairieland Park, Ag Center, kind of Diefenbaker Park, this kind of area. More rentals for sure, all smaller homes for the most part, kind of in this area. It's kind of tucked away on the other side of Circle, so obviously it's close to downtown. Doesn't take long or onto Circle, so smaller homes, lots of rentals, things like that. As we kind of move again into this area, if we're looking, say, Brevert Park is a good example. Holliston, Nutana, Eastview, Varsity View to an extent, Greystone Heights where I live, College Park East, Wildwood, Lake Ridge, Lakeview. Kind of, between 60s and 90s for a lot of these types of houses. So again, lots of, bungalows, types of things like that. Again, super desirable areas. Obviously lots of schools, lots of parks. Property values in these areas are always, quite stable, quite high for the most part. You've got your shopping. 8th Street's kind of a main drag. Shopping, restaurants, grocery stores, whatever. Again, close to the University of Saskatchewan. So, lots in these areas are, kind of desirable. Each of these is kind of going to have their own school. So Greystone Heights, which is where I live. School, park, all that. Again, another school, parks, same kind of, you got, again, more parks, more schools, no shortage of schools and parks in these areas, which obviously makes them desirable. Golf course in Wildwood here, Wildwood School. Again, super desirable. Older homes, I'd say lots of people, kind of my generation or millennials, kind of this is where their parents still are in these areas. Nice houses, nice yards, great places to raise a family. So super popular in that regard. Sutherland, I guess would kind of be a little bit more industrial as you can get on the east side. Obviously, you've got whole Sutherland Industrial, you got a rink, fire station, different businesses, kind of railway goes right through here. Due to its proximity, obviously, to the university, it is quite popular for rentals. That's kind of how it's always been. Not likely to change as the Polytech is also going to move to the U of S. So lots of smaller houses, but, kind of rented out top and bottom. Not tons of massive houses in here, kind of a little bit older, smaller styles. As we move this direction, so you got Forest Grove, again, Willow Grove, Arundel, Arbor Creek. Again, a little bit newer than kind of, this area here as we move farther out. So again, you're going to get lots of kind of, let's drop us into Arbor Creek's a good example, kind of the newer, so again, kind of starting to see where 2 stories are going to be a lot more popular, those attached garages. This is pretty indicative of kind of what you'll find in Arbor Creek for the most part. Very nice area, lots of, houses. If they've been well maintained, value is very high in these areas, and tons of people love living in them. And so that's kind of what you're going to get. And, these are all similar, kind of how they're set up. Again, still lots of parks, high school over here, soccer center, shopping. You get the Forestry Farm and Zoo, kind of in the Silver Spring area here. So again, super popular of an area. As we move now kind of more south, we are getting into, again, on the other side, the east side of Boychuk, you're getting Briarwood, Rosewood, the Meadows, which is kind of the newer development. Kind of Meadows and Rosewood bleed into each other. Newer Costco, shopping here. So this is all going to be being developed and growing. But so a little bit newer. Obviously, very easy to get onto Circle Drive, so commute's not bad. Boychuk onto Taylor, that kind of area. So if we're going to throw ourselves down and say Rosewood, just to give you an idea. So again, this would be more still under development, kind of Meadows type. But yeah, so all mostly newer newer housing. Again, still popular. If we're going to go, let's, maybe a little bit closer into there. So here would be kind of your, condominiums, shopping center area. Obviously, you still do have, kind of these style, two-story kind of style homes. And then, yeah, that's the bulk of the area. Obviously, you don't want to go on and on and on forever about it. So, again, you got all these little satellite communities, Warm and Martinsville, which are also options. If you're from here or from around the area, there's lots to talk about east side versus west side. The big difference, obviously, is this was the area that was developed first. So older homes, smaller, whereas, kind of everything over here is, kind of 60s and newer. So, it all depends really kind of what you're looking for. If you're a young family, obviously this side of the city, super, kind of concentrated in the amount of parks and schools, which is why it appeals. Obviously, lot sizes and everything are kind of bigger. You do get a yard, great place to grow up. And they are kind of trying to get that with Hamptonville, Kensington over on the west side. But, obviously these areas, older, narrower streets, smaller houses, everything like that, a little bit closer to downtown, that type of thing. But, amenities in this area aren't great. And so I think that's, maybe the one determining factor is property values on this side higher, more amenities for sure. Obviously, if you get further west into Kensington area, that's kind of on that west side where you're going to start getting those amenities, malls, shopping, schools again. And so, depending kind of what you're looking for or where you work, that's kind of where your options might rather align with or what you prefer. Okay, and so that wraps up our map tour of Saskatoon and area. Obviously, you could dive into each neighborhood super in depth. It would take a long time, so we're avoiding that. But really just wanted to give everyone, who doesn't maybe know the area, kind of an overview, what you can expect, kind of, what options are there, is it super suburb heavy and everything. So, hopefully this gives you an idea kind of what you might be looking for or, what might work really well for you. Really, Saskatoon's a fantastic city to live in. I can't imagine ever moving anywhere else myself. I really enjoyed it. And I think it offers a lot. So if you have any specific questions about, certain neighborhoods that we touched on, you're like, hey, I want to know more about that. All my contact info is below in the description. So please feel free to email me, call me, text me, reach out, whatever it is. And I'd be happy to go over specific areas with you, answer any of your questions. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.